Hey everybody, I decided I wanted to record a league with this list, mildly inspired by the Showcase Top 8 list. What I'm trying is a 4 Cavern main deck with Sakura Tribe Elder. The idea being that Cavern casts Sakura Tribe Elder pretty well. And then Sakura Tribe Elder helps enable Hydroid Crisis from the board with this island, which is a pretty powerful card against Murktide because it doesn't care about Counterspell as much. I'm also trying to Hall of the Storm Giants as another blue source. It's a really powerful card against the control decks in 4 color, just like an extra thing to grab off Titan, especially in matchups where, typically I've said in the past when you're trimming Urza Saga, like against a control deck, I usually like to trim 2 Urza Saga, and I want to have lands to bring in, so I think having, things like this island, this hall, potentially even Viseju against, a control deck, having more options to bring in, try something a little bit different. So just really interested to see if the mild blue splash for Hydroid Crisis is maybe something useful. Obviously, it's trickier in this list. I also put in an extra Talaria West. It's trickier in this list to find the extra sideboard slots. I have a pretty minimal Karn board. I'm giving up on some sideboard options, like for example, like Needle and Bridge, and you know, like potentially not main decking every cavern and having a chance to play some kind of like Castle Garenbrig, which isn't appearing in this list, but I think it's less silly than I think people probably think on first glance. So I think it'll be a fun experiment to try. I'll keep this hand. We've got a couple things going on for us. We potentially have a turn 3 Titan, though it's sort of a uh, how should I say, a fragile turn 3 Titan. But certainly we could have draw steps that change that. We also don't necessarily have to go for the turn 3 Titan. Um, Potentially, if our draw lines up awkwardly enough, we might, or depending on what our opponent's playing, we might decide to even bounce the Saga, replay it, go for something a little slower. Okay, our opponent concedes. Arid Mesa makes me think there's a good chance it's burn. It could also be 4 colors, so I'll try the Hydroid Crises in. So I'll bring in the island and the Hall of the Storm Giants to enable that. I'll trim a Karn in case it's burn. Maybe 2 Karns. And currently on 33 lands. Maybe a Saga is good if it's burn, bad if it's like 4 color. What can I trim? Maybe second Valakut. Leaning more on the blue than on the red. Without Radiant Fountain in the list, it's kind of a little bit risky um, to trim down a Valakut, but I think we've got maybe a configuration that makes our Titans better because it can grab things like Hall and Lair rather than depending on our So it's hammer. Okay. Well, Cavern on Beast. Play the Grazer. And play the Garrison. Next turn we can Cavern on Nymph, play the Dryad, and then Krasis will probably be a pretty good blocker at some point. No attack is interesting. I like that draw. Hall being tapped is a little awkward here, but we could just buy a little. If we don't draw an untapped land, we can just buy a little time with the Krasis and then try and make it to Titan. How much did my opponent mulligan this game? 6. They went to 6. March on the Dryad, I assume, is what's happening here. Okay. Not a huge deal. I'm fine with playing a Krasis for 2, drawing 1 card, and then playing a tapped Hall. Karn might even be better than Titan here, honestly, because it turns off the Springleaf Drum. I think I do prefer the Karn here. Maybe I can make them play a March. Okay, no March. Karn. Mana Leak. Okay. Not really a big problem. I guess I'll get in for 2. I have the Grazer back to block if they decide to attack with the Ornithopter. Interesting that they waited until then to march. Thought they would do it in response to the trigger if they had it. Drawing Titan isn't a bad draw. Even though we've got all these packs, just means we'll have more mana available. Probably want to set up some green mana. So like Beseju, Simic. Cool. Yeah, so our sideboarding obviously wasn't optimal for the matchup. I'd rather have a Karn than the Hydroid Krasis, but Krasis did fine. It was a blocker, it drew us a card, so nothing to complain about there. And I'll see everyone next round.